bringing y'all a story out of Illinois, St. Louis, East St. Louis. Markeisha Gurley killed a friend, Destiny Smith. They said it was friends and stuff like this. Said Destiny Smith was robbed and killed by Markeisha. Say Markeisha shot her and took her purse and robbed her own friend. And it was alleged that a man was on the scene too. Also, we don't know what his story was, and they arrested him, but Markeisha ended up getting charged with committing an act on her best friend, Destiny Smith. Destiny Smith was, I think, a exotic dancer, and she was making a lot of money. She was getting to the bag. She was a pretty young lady, and friend may have been jealous of her or made her wanted what she had, because these girls come out of the club, they make a lot of money at night. You know what I'm saying? And Markeisha might have been plotting to get her. You know what I'm saying? Even though that was her friend, but these people sometimes they can have a good night. They can make like 30, 40, 50K in one night when they doing these type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Destiny Smith, young lady, lost her life to gun violence and was robbed and stuff like that. I think they caught Markeisha with information and wallet and stuff. And somebody had, I think the guy had went on and talked and told that Markeisha had did, and she was charged with shooting the gun and killing Destiny. Destiny is from East St. Louis, Illinois, and they said she was a good girl. She was always trying to get money. That's all she talked about on her Facebook and everything about money. She wasn't worried about anything, didn't have any problems or nothing. It was people kind of like jealous of her and watching her. But that's her story. Rest in peace, Destiny Smith. Chew.
Here we go. Ooh, that might be a little too explicit. Definitely gonna have to put this on restrictions. Yep, only thing they have of value. At least it looks natural. Why do these females be faking this shit? Speaking of fake, my God, how much cake base can you put on? A lot of these broads be looking embalmed, I swear. Please don't do anything too explicit that I gotta edit out.
Okay.
Do these females know what they look like? Are they aware of that? Wow, man. You niggas be lying to these. Let me be quiet, man. This is YouTube. Just stop. Yeah, what else is new? Wake me up when you get new material. Be original. You're lying about no makeup. You're obviously wearing makeup. You're just not wearing as much of it. That's the right word for it. Cake up. I got my cake up. Told you it's cake based. It's not makeup. This shit be heavy as hell too. Yeah, wake me up when you got something new. Like I said, be original. Don't be a copy, be original. Yeah, we've seen that trick before. Now you know how these females be affording those brand new cars and those fancy vacations. Selling,
Dance, come check it out, nigga. Bring the camera, nigga. Tear that ass up, yeah. You like that? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Bustin' that, hold on. I'ma bustin' out your motherfucking mouth. Hold on, take this motherfucker. Hope not bust it. I'ma bust nut in your motherfucker. Bitch, you got some bomb ass pussy. Bitch, you got some bomb ass pussy. Ooh, bitch, you got some bomb ass pussy. Ooh, bitch, you got some bomb ass pussy. Oh, the bar's closed. got some bomb ass pussy.
Have you ever had some bomb pussy? Have you ever had some bomb pussy? Have you ever had some bomb pussy? Have you ever?
I took a trip to the other side of the planet. Fucking hoes in Japan, didn't understand it. Joe Cool is my witness and the homie style. Blowasaki part 1, getting buck wild. With some hoes from the other side of the globe. I mean this bitch pussy so tight it's fitting like a glove. Could it be a small case of puppy love, you see? Hey bitch, you ain't in love with me.
Now if I fucked your bitch, would a nigga trip? Did you know your hoes going round blowing niggas' dicks? Now would you trip? Now trip or can I go back to when me and Daz was chillin' in Atlanta? Atlanta was the place to be. See, it was bitches and shit. We had a show to go do down at the freak. Then we had a bitch that was all up on our dicks, cause she knew about the homie and she knew about the click. And that's that nigga Daz, and that's the homie L. So it's
My. Even as I work on the Thoughtopsy series, these queens are still dropping like flies. You know, it was just a few days ago that I released a community post asking you guys why it seems like there's been a sharp increase since the beginning of this scamdemic of young females being targeted for violence. And I already know the answer to that question, but I wanted to see what you guys' opinion was. And I don't know how many of you saw that community post, but it was referring to a mass shooting in Russia that happened at a college, Perm State University, and the shooter was obviously targeting young female students primarily. He of the 6 people he killed, 5 were females, and the only male he killed was a very feminine, small-framed dude that could have easily have been mistook for a woman. He injured nearly 30 other people before he was gunned down himself by a school security guard. But I said that, you know, if anything, that proves that this targeting of females is not just happening here in the United States, whether it's provoked or unprovoked, and obviously that case in Russia appeared to be unprovoked. It's happening on a global scale. And I did see some rather interesting responses from you guys. But here in the United States, it seems to be more prevalent than anywhere else. And it's most prevalent within the minority, aka black community, as has always been the case, at least since most of us have been alive. But I don't know, I really don't know, you know, if it's just a scamdemic or if, you know, what we're starting to see is a collision of feminist, militant feminist, misandric extremism colliding with, you know, a lot of resentment and hate stirring up on both sides of the spectrum, and it's just, you know, exploding upon head-on collision impact with one another. You know, it's like 2 opposing sides coming together in a great war, but one is at a great disadvantage. I don't know. But, you know, I tried to tell you niggas, man. I tried to tell y'all, man. You know, I still get people in my inbox. I still get people in my email. I've had about 10 requests since it happened over 2 weeks ago. The Janae Grandier aka Mercedes Moore, Houston bimbo that was killed by one of her Johns. I still get requests. Brian, are you going to make a video about Mercedes Moore? And I answer for the 10th time, yes, absolutely. That story, I haven't even had the chance yet to really pick apart Mercedes Moore. Okay? That's gonna take some time to research. Okay? I'm still trying to finish the first part of the pay-per-view batch that's going to be exclusively on Patreon before it's released to the public. Okay? I haven't even began to get to Mercedes Moore when still thoughts are dying. What I tried to explain to y'all through some streams since the Mercedes Moore incident is that, listen, y'all get excited. This is what I really wish niggas, male and female, would get out of. Y'all get excited by trends. You want to hear a content creator like me talk about something that is trending. And what I try to explain to y'all is that this is nothing new, okay? Before Mercedes Moore, and light years after Mercedes Moore, okay? Thoughts have been dying. I just did that stream about the, I don't even remember her name anymore. That's just how many of them are dying. The Instagram thought/model down in Atlanta, right? That was killed by some dude. Some people were saying that it was a boyfriend, but other people were saying that it might have been a Mercedes Moore type situation where, she was doing a little prostitution on the side and, ran into the wrong dude. I don't know. I haven't even gotten a chance to look at that to see if that's worthy of doing a follow-up. Y'all remember the stream I did not too long ago where I was talking about, dating in the belly of the beast. I said that because I assumed that was her boyfriend, but now I'm not so sure. It could have just been another crazed simp that she met from somewhere. Okay? And before that, I got another story that is going to be in the batch and has been created about this, popular female music star that got caught slipping, cheating on her boyfriend. She got caught in the worst possible way, killed in an accident. And that's how people found out she was cheating on her equally famous boyfriend in another part of the world. So, and now we have this. And this, mind you, since Mercedes Moore, this is what y'all don't understand. There have been, including this thought from St. Louis, there have been about, and y'all may not believe this, there have been about 20 confirmed thought deaths. Okay? And that's after Mercedes Moore. Okay? Mercedes Moore was just the most popular of the thoughts. Okay? There have been many, many, many other cases of this. This is nothing new. This is nothing new. I wish I could get Negroes to get their head out of the fucking sand and realize, okay, you got to pay attention. See, you got to pay attention to more than what's just trending. Everybody's talking about now this little goofy white girl. What is her name? Gabby Petito or whatever her name is, out in wherever the fuck that happened, in the mountains somewhere in Arizona. I don't know. Disappearing, then her body turning up after her and her boyfriend or husband or something, went out in the woods. Now the media want me to care about that. And I think there was, I didn't really take a look at it, but I think there was like the police pulled them over for some reason, and there's body cam footage of last hours of her life. I haven't even gotten a chance to look into that. The media wants us to care about that. But, chances are, she was another one of these crazed in the head females that, was acting insane and giving the dude a hard time. He may have been a lunatic too, but, chances are, either through her bad decision making in choices of men, which is usually what gets these females in trouble, or her bad attitude. Somehow she directly or indirectly, perpetuated, the eventuality of what happened. People say don't victim blame, but bruh, I don't know I'm not gonna fully speak on that, okay? Because I don't know what happened. All I know is the media, like COVID-19, now they want me to care about Gabby Petito. Again, everybody want to talk about what's trending. Mercedes Moore, Gabby Petito. But, dude, even when it's not trending, it's still happening every day. And people say don't victim shame. But look at this case here. This case out of St. Louis. Destiny Smith. That's a popular name. Sometimes a thought name. Sometimes not a thought name. Now this bubbly young woman here was a popular high-earning stripper out of the St. Louis area. But she found herself a few nights ago in the car with a gentleman and what was supposedly her best friend in East St. Louis, which is on the Illinois side of the river, for those of you not from the Midwest. And somehow she wound up robbed and shot in the head following an altercation. Now, when I first came across this story on gunmemorial.org, what I heard was that Destiny Smith was robbed at gunpoint by her supposed best friend, this Makita Gurley female, this Makita Gurley thug thought, and that there was apparently some type of a struggle, and the gun went off, and then Makita took all of her now dead friend's belongings after she shot her in the head, and she was later arrested, and she's being held on $750,000 bond. And originally I thought, okay, yeah, sounds like another setup over some over them probably fighting over some dude that they're both messing around with, and neither one of them can confirm who the side chick is versus the main chick is, so they gonna get together and duke it out, and turns out one of them produced a gun. That was just my theory. But then I saw a post from a dude that kind of shed more light on what happened. There's a guy who said that he was there, or he was in the area, and that Mrs. Destiny Smith and Makita Gurley, they were best friends. I found out through other research that they had at one point worked at the couple of strip clubs together, and that's where they friended up. And the Makita Gurley was no longer working at the strip club anymore. She was actually out of work at the time, but they had met up together because they had agreed that they were going to try to roll this guy that Destiny Smith met in the club. And if you know anything about strip clubs, you know that some of the girls, they work off the clock. They meet guys in the club that want something a little more than a strip tease or a private dance, and they make additional money by hoeing outside the club. Now, we know there's a lot of girls that they do the Insta-thought thing and digitally prostitute themselves, but you do still have working girls, as they call them, who still go by the traditional standard and definition of a prostitute. So from what I'm hearing, okay, I'm taking people's word for this, but it's not too far stretched from, the imagination to believe that this is reality. I've heard this from two sources, including a YouTube post of a guy who said that he was actually there when this happened. She met this guy in the club, who's a perfect stranger, and they agreed to meet, after, at, when the club closed, or when she got off work or whatever. And they drove him, he was from out of town. This is what somebody else was saying. I tried to grab that post, but it was taken down. But they were saying that this guy appeared to be from out of town, so I guess she figured she could roll him. She left the club, got in the car with this girl, and she had texted her friend to come and pick her up in her car. So they get in the car with this guy, and then they drive him from the club in St. Louis to East St. Louis across the river, and they drive him to this railroad yard, and that's where the Makita Gurley, she pulls a gun on this guy, and she tries to rob him. Now, we just got done talking about how black men, these expat group Negroes, these passport for pussy Negroes, are going down to places like Colombia and getting drugged and robbed, sometimes just robbed, even at gunpoint, down in places like Colombia and the Dominican Republic or whatever. So this is something that's common, because unfortunately so many black males still lack the ability to reason with their brain before they think with and lead with their dicks. That you even heard the expat dude on O'Shea Duke Jackson's show saying this, that a lot of black men, it's easy to set them up. He said this. A passport for pussy Negro himself said this. Okay? It's not just me saying this. It's them saying this. Okay? So, this happens to black men overseas. This happens to black men domestically. It's a common thing that happens. It's common for, these thoughts to draw these guys to a location and set them up, usually in collusion with some type of pookie savage that they're dating, or who's pimping them, or their brother or cousin or whatever. But apparently in this case, this is what happened. They drove him from the club. Why he would be stupid enough to get in their car instead of his own car, unless he went to the club by an Uber, I don't know. But he went to the rail yard. Once they got him in a remote location, they tried to rob him. He pulled out a gun after jumping out of the car. Well, they did rob him, from what I understand. They went to drive away, and he pulled a gun, and he opened fire on them. Okay? And in the exchange of gunfire, Destiny Smith got a bullet in the head. Now, it's not clear who shot her in the head, whether it was the guy that was being robbed, or whether it was her friend who, was doing the robbing and got in a shootout, because she had a gun of her own. What is known is that Destiny Smith wound up dead, and, of course, showing true honor among friends. Apparently, I guess they wasn't that good of friends. The out of work thug thought that, tried to help Destiny Smith set up this robbery against this dude, instead of driving her friend to the hospital, granted, gunshot wound to the head, she was probably dead anyway, but instead of driving her friend to the hospital, what does she do? She takes the opportunity to take her friend Destiny Smith's winnings, probably for the night after the strip club, took her purse, took her wallet, and she figures, I don't know what she was thinking. I guess she figures, well, they'll probably think he did it, whether he did it or didn't, and she's just going to grab the shit and flee. Of course, the police caught up with her, and, after they took the one guy into custody. Now, from what I'm hearing, he was taken into custody, questioned, and released, pending further investigation. It could be because they already ruled, like, when I had to pull my piece to defend myself a couple of years ago, that it was self-defense. So that, if he has a valid, I don't know where he's from. I'm just getting this from secondary and third-party sources. But if he is from Illinois, and he has a valid Illinois CCW or Missouri CCW, and his story actually holds up, that he thought he was going to get some offshore pussy and wound up getting robbed at gunpoint, he might be able to get away with it. Okay. But then I said to myself, and a lot of people might be saying to themselves, well, Brian, the article clearly says that the police charged the friend, Maketha Gurley, with murder and armed robbery. Okay. But what a lot of people don't understand, and it took me a second for this to kind of click. Okay. In the state of Illinois, and in many states, okay, I don't know how many, but in many states, when you commit a crime, when you commit what's called a forcible felony, also known as a violent felony, this can include anything from kidnapping, aggravated assault, armed robbery, attempted murder, murder. If you commit any crime, if in the commission of your crime, someone dies as a direct or indirect result of your crime, you can and often will be charged with their murder. I'll give you a couple of examples. There were two guys who went in, robbed a bank. I don't remember where, but I believe it was Denver, Colorado. Security guard pulled his gun, exchanged shots with them. Okay? Killed one of the bank robbers. The other bank robber exchanged gunshots with the security guard, but he was able to escape. The police caught up with the bank robber who survived a couple of days later, and he was charged with the murder of his friend, his accomplice. He was charged, I believe, with second-degree murder. Okay, even though he wasn't the one who shot his fellow bank robber, the security guard was. But because he was in the commission of a forcible felony, armed robbery, okay, it was his fault that a death occurred. To give you another example, there were some guys out west. This happened many moons ago. They attacked. Well, they didn't attack, but they forcibly carjacked a dude and took his car, pulled him out of his car. Okay, and they jumped in the car and went to drive off with it. The guy who had a bad heart, he started running after them. And as he's running after them, he drops dead from a heart attack. Okay? They were charged with, I forget what it was called, but it was some fancy term, but it was equivalent to manslaughter. Okay? And one of those guys got like 25 years in prison. Okay, I think that was actually in California where that happened. One of the most liberal states alive. And let me see, wasn't there another case? I think there was another case. Yeah. Many years ago, there was a guy who killed a off-duty Chicago police officer named Brenda Sexton. This was all the way back in this was like 20 years ago. And he killed her. There was a domestic violence case. He killed her in her home, and then he went on the run. He was a fugitive from justice. I believe they tracked him all the way to Wisconsin, and he was already a felon. And it is Chicago police policy, as it is with most law enforcement agency policies, that their law enforcement officers are not supposed to date felons. But then again, that goes back to females, willingly making dumb choices in the type of dudes that they sleep with, subject for another video. But anyway, in the pursuit of this fugitive, okay, I think it was Wisconsin, 2 police helicopter pilots that were searching for this guy in a wooded area, their helicopter went down while searching for this fugitive suspect, and they were both killed. Well, guess what? He was charged with their deaths. Okay? So in many states, when you commit a crime, okay, you and somebody dies from your crime, even if you are not the trigger man, even if you did not directly kill them, you can be indeed charged with their deaths, even if they were involved in the crime with you. Again, from what I'm seeing, why, and it kind of behooves me. It just shows you the sheer stupidity. If this story pans out the way people are saying, why, if she's making so much money at this strip club that people are talking about, she's such a high earner, why would she be trying to set dudes up to get robbed? It just shows you the blatant disrespect. It really does. But apparently this time they ran into the wrong one. And the other thing that you got to keep in mind, whenever you hear stories like this, you got to keep in mind that the liberal news media, when it comes to black females, if the black female met her own demise, as a result of, poor decisions that she made, including being in the commission of a crime. And how many times have we seen this? They're always going to spin it, in a way that makes her look innocent or makes her look like, she's just totally the victim and, that she, wasn't at fault at all. Okay. So see how they said it was, they never, you have to go several days back before they caught her friend and charged her with murder and armed robbery, okay, to see the first reports to kind of put 2 and 2 together, okay. St. Louis woman found dead in a car in East St. Louis. East St. Louis. A Missouri woman was found dead in a car at a railroad yard on 22nd Street in East St. Louis early Thursday, authorities said. St. Clair County Coroner Calvin Dye Sr. identified the victim as Destiny Smith of the 8600 block of Melrose in St. Louis, Missouri. She is believed to be in her 20s. Smith was pronounced dead at the scene at 1000 Street, 22nd Street, 1000 South 22nd Street in East St. Louis. East St. Louis police officers were sent to the railroad yard to assist officers from the Alton and Southern Railway Company who reported hearing shots fired and an accident that occurred in the parking lot. An unidentified male was arrested on scene. Police are not saying what his role was, if any, in connection to the shooting. Police located an unresponsive female in a car, an East St. Louis Police Department press release said. In the first report, they said that a woman in her 20s, identified as Destiny Smith, was found dead in a railroad yard in East St. Louis that was from St. Louis. Okay? And that a man somehow involved was arrested and taken in for questioning. Okay? And that rail yard police and East St. Louis police who heard gunshots in the secluded rail yard parking lot requested help from the Illinois State Police on the investigation after they found the woman dead in the car. Okay? But when they found out what actually happened, which was that it was a double fight setup to rob a dude, okay, then they left out the part that the man was later released and possibly grazed in the head in an exchange of gunfire with the two whores that were trying to rob him. Okay, they leave out the fact that the two whores got together, texted each other, and plotted to set this dude up and possibly even kill him after robbing him, which is why they drove him to a secluded place, the rail yard across the river from St. Louis in the first place. Okay, they left out the fact that the shooter, Markitha Gurley, likely accidentally shot her friend in the head, or either way got her friend shot in the head, whether it was the dude that was shooting back or her, while exchanging shots with the dude that they just got done trying to rob. They left all of that out, see, because it's easier, even though it's still damaging, it's less damaging to say, okay, this sounds like something between two women who had a disagreement, drama possibly over some dude, and they were best friends, and best friends fell out and they had this fatal encounter with each other. It's easier to spin it that way than to say, okay, there are these two thug thoughts that got together, tried to rob a man, and he turned the tables on their ass and shot one of them in the head, or in the gun battle, one of the thoughts that tried to rob him got killed, and the other one got captured and charged with the murder of her friend, whether she shot her or the dude shot her, and robbery for trying to rob the dude and stealing shit from her friend after she got shot, then leaving her so-called friend dead in the car as she fled the scene with the loot. Okay? And oh, by the way, the dude was released from custody after police determined that it was self-defense. Because what that does is that paints the black woman in a very bad light, and that paints what was likely a black man. Now, they're not saying the color of the man. I'm assuming, I don't know what you brothers think, okay, but seeing how thirsty these Negroes are and seeing that this started in St. Louis, from what I'm hearing, a strip club in St. Louis, I'm edging on this more than likely being a black dude. But it could have been a white dude too. These white boys don't play. They be packing. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a white dude, but I'm betting that this was some type of black dude that they was trying to set up. Okay? And he's very lucky that he had a gun on him and that he had his wits about him. Because if he very likely would have, been just another dead nigga trying to get some used up pussy, and wound up, running into the wrong thoughts. Okay? But they're going to leave that out because, again, that paints the black queen in a bad light and the black male in a light as kind of a victim, which he was if this story is panning out the way it appears to be panning out. And that can never happen. So they'd rather just have it where they pit one female against the other. And did you see how in the later, for the liberal media, just like this scamdemic, they some slick motherfuckers, ain't they? In the later articles, okay, once the woman was captured and the story became clear, did you see how almost every article, if you research this yourself, just go on Google, type in, you will see almost every article conveniently leaves out that a man was even involved. And you know why? Because see, if the man was involved in setting up Destiny Smith and robbing, if it was her so-called friend and the man that was trying to rob Destiny Smith, they would have said Makitha Gurley and so-and-so, Leandre Pickens, just some random name I came up, were arrested and charged with robbery and murder. But because the man was the victim of an attempted robbery and he turned the tables on the hoes, they just leave out the fact. They completely forget about the fact that a man was involved. Because he was released from police custody, after being questioned, he's completely left out. Okay? Because he's the victim. And that can never happen. This is what the liberal media does. This is why I will never believe anything they say about anything. Okay? They can tell me a train is coming up behind me. If I don't hear that motherfucker, well, I might get run over, but I will never believe shit they tell me. Even Nicki Minaj said that. She say the liberal media tells you to shove marbles up your ass. And most black people will do it. Another political party tells you, look out, there's a train coming behind you. Most dumb motherfuckers will stand there and get run over. So that's something else you got to keep in mind. The only reason why you can't find any mentioning of the man from the earlier articles is because he was the victim. That's another reason why I believe that what these other two sources are saying that you know were actually there or actually got it from closer sources are telling the truth. Because they leaving the man that was earlier arrested out of the picture because it's found out he was being set up to be robbed. And he turned the tables on them hoes and may have killed one of them. That's also what really bothers me about this case. I tell you, if I was an investigator, if I was a homicide detective on this case, I would subpoena the social media records and the phone texts, not only of the girl, the thought that's alive, but the thug stripper thought that died. And I would look at all of their phone texts and all of their social media and anything else tied to them over the course of the last several years. Okay? Because I'm starting to wonder, you know, you got two females that used to work together as strippers from what I'm hearing, and that's where they friended up, and they may have had a falling out, and then all of a sudden one, from what I'm hearing, text one on the phone like, hey, help me come rob this dumb motherfucker that I met at the strip club to think he gonna get some pussy. I'm starting to wonder if this is their first time out like that, because something is telling me if this story holds up, that this may not have been their first time out like that, and ain't no telling how many niggas they done took to a rail yard and set up or even possibly killed. Okay? Ain't no telling how many unsolved murder mysteries or unsolved robberies and God knows what else is, you know, going on or have happened in and around the greater St. Louis metropolitan area. Okay? They need to look like Muhammad and Malvo, the fucking DC snipers. They need to look at these two females as a possible serial tag team. Okay? Because they may have been setting niggas up for years. Okay? You know these females, they have an innate hatred for men, particularly black men, and they don't have no problem hurting you in more ways than one. You know, usually legally and emotionally, but a lot of them will hurt you physically too if you let them. Okay? Ain't no telling. So again, that's just if I was a homicide detective. Okay? Ain't no telling how many niggas these dudes done set up. Okay? Ain't no telling how many niggas are dead directly or indirectly because of these females setting somebody up. Okay? I don't buy it that, you know, this girl been stripping at this club for however long, or she's been a stripper at whatever clubs, and she just got together with this other thought, and they just decided on this one night, oh yeah, hey, help me rob this dude. You know, he throwing money around, you know. Just one random dude out of all the dudes that she meet the first time, I don't buy that, man. You know, a lot of these females, I ain't even scrolled through her whole timeline because, again, I don't have time. I don't have time to go through her whole timeline, okay? But it wouldn't surprise me if I went through her whole timeline and there was some type of indicator on her or the surviving Thug Thoughts timeline that indicated in the public that they was up to some shady stuff, okay? You got to be careful, you know? Again, I see dumb niggas even in my comments to this day talking about, oh, well, at least she cute. At least she cute. So you know that she should get a pass. You got to be careful, man. It's dangerous stuff. Y'all can make fun. Once again, I say, you can never shame me for being heavily invested in dog culture. You can't. You can say what you want. You can laugh. You can point. You can do whatever you want. You can never shame me, okay? There's several things I never have to worry about a life-size dog doing to me. Giving me an STD, cheating on me, talking back to me, otherwise disrespecting me, robbing me, or killing me. Those are things I never have to worry about, bro. I'll never have to worry about that shit. So, you can say what you want, man, but dealing with these modern day females with the misandric, fucking gynocentric, militant. A lot of these black females are militantly it's not even feminist. Isn't even the right word for it. It's something else, man. They are militant in that shit, bro. So to the point where a lot of these females are crazy enough to think they can fight dudes and will fight a dude. In most cases, they get their ass whooped, but still, a female. I've seen females 5 times smaller than a dude putting their hands on a dude 5 times their size. So you gotta really be careful when you deal. I don't care how good they look. I don't care how big their booty is. And you see this fight, the one that died, she was big on sticking her ass out, as the rest of these queens are. Just typical. Like I said, I've seen that trick before. Be original. Don't be a copy. Be original. But yeah, man, you don't know what these hoes are up to nowadays, man. You really don't. The female that work at the local Walmart, man, she could be part of a fucking stick-up crew, setting dudes up in her off days, man. We know a lot of these females sell offline, when they, online, and sometimes even still, doing it on the street, the traditional hoes. So you gotta be careful, man. If you still dealing with these females, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful, man. And this is what I was trying to tell. This is what I also, as a side note, this is what I've been trying to tell niggas, okay, for years now. About 3 years I've been trying to tell y'all this, okay. I've seen it, and I've seen more black females, including thug thoughts, and even regular looking black women. I've seen church women. I'm seeing more and more of these females arming themselves with guns, okay. So, you dudes that are out there oblivious to reality, thinking all you need is a phone in your mouth or your fists, I'm telling you, bro, you might be in for a rude awakening if you run into, somebody that you don't know is armed, okay? And especially if they're as crazy as a lot of these females are, okay? But apparently this dude, he had a gun of his own, and I'm hearing that he may have been grazed in the head in the shootout. I can't verify that, okay? What I do know is I'm hearing from at least 2 sources that this was a setup gone bad for the thug fights that tried to pull it off, including this dead stripper, Destiny Smith. And she got the worst of it, even though it was her friend and this dude that were exchanging shots with each other, okay? And when they said that she got charged with armed robbery, I understand now that it may or may not have, it probably wasn't Destiny Smith that she got charged with robbing. She just stole her shit. That just kind of, added on to the charges. She figured, well, shit, she dead. She don't need it no more. Oops, sorry, friend. I could take that up off you, though. You can't. It's like David Carroll said, man. Hollywood screenwriters can't make this shit up. Why the fuck? If you making as much money as that one dude said in the intro, and I seriously doubt that. But some people look. I've never been to a strip club, okay, and I never care to. Being in a strip club full of funky, smelly, used up vagina. Look, this is YouTube. Let's just drop that. But it's not my cup of tea. I'll put it like that. But I've heard that a good stripper can make, a couple of $1,000s a night. That, in St. Louis, I doubt it, because St. Louis isn't that big of a city, but I don't know. I don't go to strip clubs, and I never would waste my money on some shit like that. Okay, I would never waste my money on some shit like that. But that's just me. Okay, so I'm sitting here trying to understand. I mean, what is it? Is the COVID scamdemic, is that hitting these hoes hard too? At times tough for them. Not as many thirsty dudes coming in because they gotta buy bread. Not as many tips. Not as many dollars being shoved in your panties. I mean, what's going on, man? Why are strippers trying to rob niggas? Like, somebody got to help me out with this one, bro. Like, I can't get over the irony of this. You try to rob a dude, and then the other part that don't make sense to me is, okay, if Destiny Smith was in on this, and see, this is the really scary part. This is the scary part, okay? Because while I say that females are dropping like flies all the time, I also say that, you know, dudes are getting slaughtered out here, man. Okay? At 5 times the rate of these females. Okay? So I'm trying to figure out, you know, once I kind of put 2 and 2 together and understood the situation, I said, wait. Now, if Makitha Gurley and Destiny Smith, these 2 strong, black, beautiful queens, if they're robbing a dude, wouldn't it be fucking stupid to rob a guy that you just met at the strip club where you work? Okay, you're going to take him to a rail yard. You're going to take him to a rail yard, and that's where her body was found, by the way, in the car, in the rail yard. You're going to take him to a secluded area across the river in East St. Louis. Okay, good place to rob somebody, especially at the dead of night, but don't you think he was going to remember where you work? And see, here's the scary part. And this is what you niggas, including, there's a certain group of individuals that keep trying to give passes to these females if they're physically appealing. Okay? And I've seen a particular individual doing this a lot in my comment section, and it's kind of aggravating me. Okay? But for those of you who have that mentality, here's the scary question you got to ask yourself. Was Destiny Smith and Makitha Gurley really that fucking stupid to think that this dude wouldn't come back to that strip club with the police and pick her out of a lineup of stripper whores after he got robbed? Or were they planning that trip to the rail yard was going to be the last thing he ever saw after they robbed him at gunpoint? See? Was it supposed to be him being found dead in that car in that rail yard instead of Destiny Smith? See? That's something you got to keep in mind. That's something you got to keep in mind. All the more reason to leave these hoes alone. It's not just the black ones. Okay? It's a lot of it is the queens, the black queens, the monarch, but it's others too. Hence what's going on down in South America with, scopamine and all that shit. Okay? So, I really just made this video to just, this isn't even part of the Thoughtopsy series. You do understand that, right? This isn't even part of the Thoughtopsy series. I got more than enough cases of, thoughts making poor choices, looking deep into their history, and proving that their lifestyle choices is why they met their demise. Okay? I have more than enough of those stories to fill a zip code. Okay? Coming out in the pay-per-view batch. But even as I'm working on the Thoughtopsy series, thoughts are still dying. Okay? And usually because of poor choices that they made. Okay? Again, sometimes it's not even murder. It's not even murder or accidents because of DUIs. There's a well-known, some of y'all know it, most of y'all don't. There's a very well-known, outspoken woman empowerment black feminist that used to be well, I ain't gonna even say that because that'll give it away. But she was here on YouTube, and she was also very popular on Instagram. She died 4 months after getting the vaccine of an allergic reaction. And her family was saying that she was, she had food allergies, but she was very aware. She was very conscious of her food allergies her entire life. She was a very intelligent woman. She graduated from a prestigious university. And literally, like 4 months later, she dies after getting the vaccine. May not have had anything to do with the vaccine, but again, her family said she was conscious of staying away from foods that upset her allergies. She went in anaphylactic shock. So, even in situations like that, there's so many cases of these females, particularly these thoughts, hence the Thoughtopsy series. There's so many cases of them meeting their demise. It's not just Mercedes Moore, y'all. All over the place, from St. Louis, Houston, Dallas, Chicago, LA. Y'all, I would be dead. And I told y'all this before as well. I would be a dead Negro before I could even make a video on every thought that met her demise because of poor choices that she made, that lived that thought lifestyle just so far this year. Let alone last year and the year before that and the year before that and the year before that, bruh. It's impossible. Now, I cannot verify, I cannot explain, exactly what was in her timeline, which some people are saying it appeared that she was beefing with the female who killed her. I cannot really speculate, like give a good hypothesis on that. This could have been that, this could have been just another salt and no substance type of situation where, she was, just talking a bunch of shit for attention, which these females commonly do. Or this could have been another female that she was beefing with. Or this could have actually been these females were actually beefing just a few days ago, and then on the 16th, because you can see these posts were from September 12th and September 13th. And 3 days later, they decided to come together, come to agreement with each other, and kiss and make up over planning to rob this dude. And when shit went south, she say, oh, well, I didn't really like that hoe anyway, and just, took the shit and left. It could have been that too. These females, they flip-flop. And that also, if that is the case, because a lot of people are saying, well, look at some of her last posts. One of her last posts was talking about friend breakups be the worst. There's no indication she's talking about the female that shot her. But we also know that just like, with these females on YouTube that are, including these divestors that are always at each other's throats, doxing each other, messing with each other's family, insulting each other. When it comes to black men, they will drop all the drama and the hatred and the jealousy and the war that they have with each other just to link up, get together, and go against black men. Okay? That's another thing you got to keep in mind. So just because they may have been, dueling with each other just a few days leading up to this shooting doesn't necessarily, if that is the case, and she wasn't talking about another female, or this wasn't another case of assault with no substance, just, fat trash talk, it may have very well been that, she decided, oh, I know how I'm gonna make up with my best friend, or, we may not like each other, but, I bet I can get her in on this, setting up this dumb nigga with me. It could have been something like that. Okay. And looking at this case, thinking about how these females had apparently had this well planned out. They was going to take this dude across the river, probably lying to him about, how they was going to do a threesome with him, taking him to some house somewhere. And this dummy was going with him. And they take him to a secluded place, a rail yard parking lot. And I think about how many dudes, because you go on gunmemorial.org and you see just a slew of dead black men that have been gunned down. And a lot of them have been found dead, like those 4 people that were found in that Wisconsin cornfield a couple of days ago. A lot of them are found dead in secluded places, and most of those cases are never solved. And it's skin crawling to think How many black men died like this nigga almost died if he didn't have a gun to fight back with, or if he didn't have his wits about him? How many black men died being set up by these hoes, thinking with their dick before they thought with their brain? I guarantee you, even if I was the type to go to a strip club, and I would never invest money on trash like that. Okay, and those places and everything in them are trash. I'm not even arguing about that. But even if I did, there's no way in hell I would jump in a car with a female or a group of females and let them take me to some place, especially if I'm out of town. Even if I wasn't out of town, there's no way that would happen. If I was that much of a simp, at the height of my simpness, they would have to get in my car and let me take them to a location. There's no way in fuck. You never let somebody take you to a second location, especially somebody you don't know. People are dumb, bro. That's why I say to myself, I don't want other people's dumbness to rub off on me in the physical. That's why in my personal and private life, I just stay to myself, man. I mean, hell, now that I think about it, it may have even been a case of, after the botched robbery, and they weren't able to successfully rob the simp that they thought was going to be an easy roll. They got, as they drove away, because they said, they were exchanging shots with the guy as they drove off, and he was chasing them. And he said they tried to rob him. I mean, it may have been a case that after they drove off and got a little distance from him, they started arguing with each other about what went wrong. Like, nah, ho, you didn't play your role. You didn't keep him distracted long enough. And then Marquetta may have just remembered, oh, hey, didn't I just not like this bitch a couple of days ago? Boom. Like, and just decided to take her so-called friend's loot instead of the loot that they was going to take from the dude. You don't know, man. These females be so mentally off. You don't know what the hell happened. We don't know what completely happened until or unless the police, come out with it. But I noticed that everybody's hush about the very real possibility that what it's looking like is that these two got together and was trying to set this dude up for robbery. So, you don't know what happened. It's impossible. So anyway, guys, I don't mean to drag this out forever. I got to go to bed. I got business to attend to in the morning. But yeah, excuse me. My damn dry cough, God, it just had to get me at the fucking end. I went through the whole fucking video without that bullshit. Again, it's just another case of the chickens coming home to roost. Thanks so much for listening, and talk to you later, guys.
Bitch, you got some bomb ass pussy. Ooh, bitch, you got some bomb ass pussy. Ooh, bitch, you got some bomb ass pussy. Oh, the bar's closed. Bitch, you got some bomb ass pussy.
Have you ever had some bomb pussy? Have you ever had some bomb pussy? Have you ever had some bomb pussy? Have you ever?
I took a trip to the other side of the planet. Fucking hoes in Japan, didn't understand it. Joe Cool is my witness and the homie style. Blowasaki part 1, getting buck wild. With some hoes from the other side of the globe. I mean, this bitch pussy so tight, it's fitting like a glove. Could it be a small case of puppy love, you see? Hey bitch, you ain't in love with me.
Now if I fucked your bitch, would a nigga trip? Did you know your hoes going round blowing niggas' dicks? Now would you trip? Now trip or can I go back to when me and Daz was chillin' in Atlanta? Atlanta was the place to be. See, it was bitches and shit. We had a show to go do down at the freak. Then we had a bitch that was all up on our dicks, cause she knew about the homie and she knew about the clique. I'm corrupt, and that's that nigga Daz, and that's the homie L. So what's poppin' with the
That's
ass?
some bomb ass pussy.
Bitch, you got some bum ass
I heard
pussy.
that. Bitch, you got the bomb ass pussy. My homeboy told me. He said you got some bomb. Oh shit, you got some bomb ass pussy. Don't fake, I know you got the bomb. Yeah, I smell it. Can I inhale it? Let you tell it. I know you got some bomb.
Sometimes
cousin. Then fuck Nate. Then fucked every one of my motherfucking homies in the DB chat. Now tell her homies what's happening, ho. But still, show me some section affection and lick me down slow, you know. That's what I want, that's what I need. Not only satisfy you to fulfill my needs. The hoe get the sucking. 5 minutes later we get the fucking. Now the hoe shocked me, slipped off the rubber. I said, oh no. I bust the hella fire, super fire nut. I had to go straight pimping in the city, shaking ass and titties. Some bitches had to bomb puss, but some bitches didn't. Now after that.